Hey guys, my name is Max Convexity. Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate y'all for being here. Daily covered caller, end of day edition. Market's been closed a couple of hours. Let's see how we ended up today. We'll take a look at the buffer report and some of the other usual suspects. Okay, well, first of all, let's look at the old heat map. Boy, that heat map looks good. It's good to see a bunch of green. We've seen a bunch of green for several days now. Now I'm suspicious about this rally, but still it's good to see green. Look at this. Triple leverage Qs were up 9 points. Holy shit. I mean, imagine making 10% in one day. I mean, you could do that in leveraged. Sometimes, if you hit it right, you darn sure can. All right. Well, that's impressive though. Okay, well, let's look. So that's the good news. There's a lot of green. The bad news is the term structure is still inverted, which usually means that there's uncertainty in the short term. Now, here was yesterday's close. There was more uncertainty yesterday. The term structure was more steep yesterday. So let's look at some charts today. We'll start with the daily chart of SPX. I went ahead and drew a bear wedge on here, but I think it's important that the market holds this this line right here. I mean, we'll see, but like I say, I'm still a little suspect of the rally, but in any event, the SPX, this line right here is the 200-day moving average. These guys are well above their 200-day moving average, which is where a bear market starts, in my opinion. Other people say 20%. So 20% from is like, I'll mark the 20% line right here. So the 20% line is a little lower than the 200-day moving average. But in either event, we don't want to see the market go underneath either one, ideally. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see. All right, so let's look at NASDAQ. Now, I already have the line for NASDAQ. I thought I already had the line for NASDAQ. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, well, same thing with these guys. Major bear wedge right there. But I don't know. Maybe I am too bearish, and I just have this bearish opinion. And I can only see stuff. I'll try to keep an open mind. All right, so here's the Russell. Now, the Russell's closer to its 200-day moving average. In fact, it bounced off its 200-day moving average. IWMY, Triple QY, JEPY were all full profit today. USOY did not have options expire. Their options don't expire till tomorrow. But the name of or they're 75 strike, so they just have to price above 75. Well, today the market for their underlying, which is USO, closed at 75.36. So that's really nice. They're looking like they're in good shape right now at this point. So let's look over here at some of these yield max charts. This is the daily, and usually I show the 30-minute, but it's fine to step out a little bit and get a little bit more perspective. So we'll look at the Tesla crash trade in a second. Ideally, the Tesla crash trade wants prices to stay between the red profit boxes and yellow profit boxes, or otherwise known as covered call strike prices. So we'll look at that in a second, though. Kind of grinding sideways. We'll check out a little AMD action. AMD looks just like NVIDIA. It's bounced a little bit from the other day when it really went down, but it's still not looking looking super great. Let's check out Amazon. Now, Amazon had a gigantic gap down the other day, but, and then the day after that had another big day down. Amazon got beat up pretty good. Was that the earnings? That maybe they had earnings and that was earnings related, but then they get hit by the market the day after they got hit by earnings. So yeah, that's what it was. In any event, they're recovering a little bit. Let's check out Coinbase. The high yield fund name is Coney. There's their 4 strike prices, all safely out of the money. That one's looking fine. Also rallying a little bit. And we'll check out Mr., which is for MSTY is the name of the high yield fund. They trade options on MicroStrategies, otherwise known, I call it Mr. I don't know if that's the right thing to call it. MSTR is probably a more professional way to refer to it. This chart looks about the same. I mean, huge gap down and then kind of gradual little pull up here. So now let's look at old SVOL. The other day, SVOL was really having a problem. Okay. So SVOL is a short volatility fund. I haven't done the video on it yet. I've shot a video on it 3 times, but I haven't actually got it out. Oh my gosh. Anyway, there's a video coming out on it soon with any luck. I was up to like 3 o'clock in the morning last night shooting the video for it. And when I was proofreading it and going through it, there's some errors and I decided to try again today. All right. Well, anyway, these guys had a rough time, but they're bouncing back, and they've recovered, I'd say more than half of what they had lost. So I'm saying it's an overreaction is what it's looking like. We'll see now. These kinds of funds aren't trading vehicles, but still, it is nice to see it recover its 200-day moving average. In this kind of fund, you definitely, I mean, it's all like these aren't trading vehicles, but the sign of a trending asset to me is one sign of the trending asset is when the price of the asset is above the 200-day moving average, or especially is above an upward sloping 200-day moving average for an extended period of time. And you see, a year and a half here that SVOL is above an upward sloping 200-day moving average. So that's a nice trend there. Now, this was a bad sell-off for sure, but we're jumping back. Okay, so ZIVB was another one that is a short vol. This one's high power too. This one is doing really well, up from like 13 to 24, almost doubled in like 6 months. Well, that's not quite. Almost doubled in like a year, but still a very impressive return. And paid like a 15 or 20% dividend. But this one had a really rough day too. It's bouncing back. And then the one that probably had the roughest day was THTA. But I have some good information that I haven't seen anywhere else on the internet on THTA. So be watching for that video. But yeah, these guys gave up all the profit they had ever made. I mean, in that pullback. But since then, the market's rallying for them too. We'll see if these guys will be all right. I mean, it would not be great for the market or it would not be great for these 3 funds if we had another couple of shocks of volatility. But I'm pretty sure that after seeing this, because this was a pretty big bout of volatility, and about the worst one was SVOL, and SVOL at the worst point lost 30%. But and then it since bounced back and now it's only down 15%. I think these funds will be all right. And especially, or I'm sorry, THTA. THTA is the riskiest of the 3. SVOL is the least risky of the 3. But its initial shock, it was down 10% in the initial shock. But in a sense recovered about half of the initial shock. All right, so that's good. Now, I mentioned this at the noon show. These are all the new YieldMax funds coming out. Carvana, DraftKings, Hood, JD, Mara, PDD, PLTR, RBLX, Shopify, SMCI, and TSM. So those will be exciting. I keep an eye on those SEC filings. Now let's look at my favorite thing, the old buffer report here. All right. Look at old SPY T doing his job, outperforming on the upside. SPY T is designed to do really well on the big up day. It's, you know, what I call one of the high power funds. And what do I also say? GPIX, GPIQ. We'll put ZIVB in the high power. ULTY, YMAX, YMAG, JEPQ. Or it's high power for a different way, but it's high power. Yeah. So anyway, those are the high power ones. So on big up days, those are the ones where you want. Oh, and iSpy, we want to see that are doing well, and you know, just knowing and understanding how the strategy works. So let's see how that bears out. SPY T, great job. JPY is one of the ones we expect on a big up day to not do as well. So JEP I did respectable. Now SPY I is supposed to do really well. It's a powerful one, and it did got all the upside just about. iSpy must have had a dividend or something. I don't know about that one. XDTE looks great. QD or XDTE looks good. Got a lot of upside. SFOL, you know, left a little bit on the table, but it's still got 1.52%. So that's pretty freaking good with the way I look at it, right? I mean, all right, now ZIVB is a monster on the upside, but you saw the other day it gets hit on the downside too. So, you know, you got to be careful with that one. There's KQQQ up more than a point. That's good to see. But look at this one. Oh, and I forgot to mention, FEPI is definitely one of the ones you would put in the high power category. You know, YMAG, FEPI for sure. And you'd even have to go ULTI in there. And now I'm not saying that these funds I put in that category always perform in that manner, but they're the ones that have the potential to outperform on the upside just because of the strategy. I can't predict the future. I can't predict that they will outperform on the upside, but they sure have the potential to. Lots of times ULTY is one of the worst performing funds on the board, but all right. So now let's go look at I mean, these Bitcoin ones, I mean, they're insane. I don't even know what to say about them. I really don't follow them that much. These ones on the right are kind of boring. So, but it's good to see THTA bouncing also. THTA got 1.24 points. IWMY had a really respectable day, got more than a point. Really, all these funds had a great day. I'm not really disappointed with anyone other than iSpy, and I bet you that's some kind of data error or they paid a dividend and I didn't catch it. All right, so I'm seeing if we have anything else here to talk about. Let's do this. Let's talk tomorrow. How about that? And I'll get busy shooting this other video. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all. See ya.